Hello everyone, my name is Seth, and today I'm going to give you my review of Game Night. Game Night came out in 2018, stars Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams. It was directed by John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein, and if I remember correctly, those two were a couple of the guys that were going to do the Flash movie before they ended up settling on Andy Muschietti. This movie follows a group of friends who regularly have game nights and they get kind of tangled up in a real life mystery. And me personally, I love a good game night too. Playing any kind of board games or anything like that, that's just a lot of fun to me. So in that way, I can relate to these characters. But before I go any farther, go ahead and like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can receive notifications for when I upload my next video. So Game Night is an older movie, at least in terms of me reviewing it. It came out in 2018, so I was a few years old now at this point. But I was just looking for something. I just wanted something nice and easy to watch. I wanted something that would make me laugh. And I know that a lot of people have recommended this to me over the years, and so gave it a shot, and I really did enjoy it. It's not necessarily one of the best comedies I've ever seen in my life, but it's definitely memorable, and I had a really good time with it, and it did its job. It made me laugh, and it kept me entertained for an hour and 40 minutes. If I saw this in the theater, I'm sure I would walk out with a positive experience. It would be worth spending my time and my money to go to the theater and see it. So that's really one of the biggest recommendations I can give to any movie, is that it would be worth your time. One of the first things that stood out to me in this was the way it was shot. It was very, very clever in some of the shots. They used a tilt shift lens in order to make some of the wide, aerial shots look like a game board. And that's perfect. And throughout some of the action sequences and things like that, they had some very interesting cinematography. It could be very easy, it's just, hey, we're just shooting a comedy, whatever. Just light everything flatly and just set the camera here and they'll say stuff and we're fine. But they put effort into the cinematography, and I'd really appreciate that. Things like that just goes that one step further to making a film even better. There was a couple times where I felt like they were kind of falling back into just a little bit more like standard comedy cinematography, but I was only reminded of that whenever they would do something pretty cool. But I absolutely give them props. Some of those shots were really, really cool, and that was a great idea. The two leads, Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams, are awesome. I love Jason Bateman in just about everything. He almost really kind of plays the stray man in this, and he's very, very good at that. You could tell he improvised quite a bit, some of the interactions and things like that, and it just works. It seems real. He just seems like a real person who just happens to be funny. It just works in this. So he was great. I loved his line delivery on basically everything in this, and he has the acting chops to really sell some of the more dramatic moments. Rachel McAdams, she's also awesome in this. She is really one of my favorite actresses. She's really good in everything she's in, and this is no exception. She's so charming. Even in just a comedy like this, she just has great presence, and I think that her and Jason Bateman had really good chemistry together. One thing I kind of seem to forget is how good of a comedic timing that Rachel McAdams has. She really gets to show that off in this film. And to me, one of the biggest things on if a comedy is successful or not is, does it make you laugh? Is it funny? And this absolutely made me laugh. There was a few times where I literally laughed out loud. Some of the jokes are really funny. There was some reoccurring jokes throughout the movie that it just got me. It's like the next time they mentioned it, it kind of made it even more funny. There was one ongoing joke kind of with Denzel Washington and between two of the couples in it, and that one didn't really work for me. Each time they kind of brought it up, I was like, oh, we're doing this again. But overall, it really made me laugh. There was a fun bit at the beginning where the real kidnappers come in and they're fighting Brooks. And of course, everybody else thinks that it's a part of the game that he has set up. And they're just sitting there, drinking their wine, eating their cheese, and just the kind of back and forth, like the juxtaposition of Brooks fighting for his life and them just sitting on the couch eating cheese. Like that was really funny. I like most of the pop culture jokes they threw in there. They were still relatively timely, even though, they have a chance to age really poorly. I still think that they worked really well. I particularly love some of the Liam Neeson jokes. Like, I love Liam Neeson. He's one of my favorite actors. And so they kind of poke a little bit of fun at Liam Neeson and some of the movies that he does. And I thought that was really funny. Everybody in the cast did a really good job. I would say, other than Jason Bateman's character, Rachel McAdams' character, and Kyle Chandler's character, there really wasn't a lot of substance to some of the side characters. And I feel like if they were able to add a little bit more substance to them, I would have appreciated, I guess, more of the danger they were in. Like it would mean a little bit more for me as a viewer if I knew them better and they got into any kind of danger. Like, they were just there really to just kind of be their friends and go along for the ride and throw in a few jokes and, based off their stereotypes and things like that. And that works. Like, they did a good job in what they were given, but they weren't given too much. But I'm not going to hold that against them too awful much. But that is kind of one of the things that stood out to me as the credits started to roll. I'm like, you don't really get to know these side characters. They're basically there to have extra characters in the film for Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams' characters to have friends, this group that they go along with. That's really, they're just there for that, and to have a couple of jokes based off of the situation they're in or any kind of stereotypes or something like that. But it does do its job effectively, at least. Even with some of my complaints with the characters there, I do think overall it had a solid script. It did try to bring in some emotion, and I thought that it did that relatively successfully. It didn't knock it out of the park. Some of it, maybe a little bit came out of nowhere, but it was still successful enough in bringing some of the heart and some of the emotion, more particularly to Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams' characters. One thing I will say regarding the script is I kind of feel like that they should have gotten to the real kidnappers, like that reveal, a little bit sooner. I do like how they line it up, how the three couples are basically all split up and they all kind of figure that out at the same time, all with like varying degrees of danger that they're in. And so I think that was really well done. But I feel like they could have gotten to that a little bit quicker. Of course, when you use the word real kidnappers, I'm throwing the air quotes in there because there was a twist in it that I thought was absolutely fantastic and I did not see at all. They had this reoccurring bit with their neighbor, Gary, who was a police officer. They used to invite him and his wife over for game nights, and then they got a divorce and they stopped inviting him, and he wanted to be part of the game nights again. He would always ask him, like, oh, you having a game night? They'd have to hide the snacks, hide the board games, anything like that. And I think that was a really funny situation. I really liked all that stuff dealing with Gary, but the twist was that the real kidnappers was actually set up by Gary, and even Kyle Chandler's character, Brooks, he didn't even know about that. And so I thought that was a really good twist. And then right after that, you have another twist where the real people behind all of this mess that Brooks has gotten himself into shows up, and played by Michael C. Hall. It was really great to see him pop up there. He's really good in everything. Even just this little bit that he's in here at the end, Like, it's a good performance by him, and he just makes a good villain. There at the end, and kind of throughout the movie, they have some really good action sequences. They had that chase scene with the Fabergé egg trying to get away, trying to steal it from a house, and that was really cool. That was another part of having it be really well filmed. But those car chases that I thought was filmed really well, some decent moments of action. Some of that there at the end with the plane, that was really well done. So that was nice to see that a comedy was able to do something a little bit extra with the action sequences and the cinematography and things like that. So that's it. That's my review of Game Night. I really enjoyed it. I wish it didn't take me this long to see it. I had a lot of fun with this. I had a lot of laughs. I really, really enjoyed the chemistry between Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams. They both individually did really, really good in this. And it does kind of set up the possibility for a sequel. At this point, it's probably not going to happen, but I would absolutely be there for it if it did. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. What did you think of Game Night? Did it take you this long to get around to watching it like it did me? Let me know in the comment section down below. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, @CinemaSeth. And go ahead and like the video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can receive notifications when I upload my next video. And I'll see you next time.